Hello friends, Ashton here. So in today's live coding project, I'm going to introduce you a very small project, and you can try to utilize this project to do some practice if you are trying to learn app script. And here is the project. Basically, here today we're trying to solve a problem here for the rich text format in Google Sheet. And yes, the problem here is very clear. So basically, if you want to apply a style like Google, almost every character here has has their own color. So if you have a several Google here, you want to apply the same styles to them, it's going to be very headache for most of us, I think. So our tool here is you can define a list of styles here, any style you want. So if I want to apply them, and I can say Google is, and Facebook is, and the YouTube is, Upwork is Upwork. So if I select all of them, and I'd like to run this format function here, it's going to apply all the styles you defined here, and it's going to search through all the select cells, and for the value in the cells, it's going to apply the find keyword and apply the styles to all of them. Like this one for Upwork, I have two Upworks here in this cell, so both of them are updated like this. So this is our project, and if you are interested to the code, you can follow the video and start it with me. And if you don't want to touch the code, you can make a copy of the project and you can use it just like me, just like I did here, right? So you can apply it to anywhere in this file. Let's say values, and so I think I can also apply this to another tab here, just like this. All right. So we can get started to code. Okay. Okay, first let me explain the problem we're trying to solve in today's live coding project. All right, so the problem I defined here is in Google Sheet, if you want to apply a rich text format to a word or sentence, something like that. So example here, like Google, if you want to make each word with a different color, like for this G, I changed the color to something like, I'm not sure, I don't remember if it's a blue color, something like that. And you need to do this maybe character by character. So this is going to be a headache for you. If you want to apply this to multiple place, maybe here you have a sentence, Google is the company, and you want to, if you have a lot of sentences, but you want to apply this format to all of them, and you need to make a copy of this format, and you go to this Google, and you cannot even, yes, I copied, and I cannot copy this rich text format. I thought I can, but actually I cannot. So this is a problem we are facing here. I don't know if there are any add-on there to do this job, but in today's project, I'm going to show you my solution with a script to solve this kind of problem. Okay, so our solution is going to have a app script. Then I'm going to copy. The script is going to get the styles from here, right? Maybe we have a list of the styles, and we get the style, and we go through the cells you selected, and if I find the Google in this cell, I'm going to replace this Google with this rich text format. So this is going to be our solution to kind of solve this kind of problem here, all right? And about the design of the code, so let me show you here. So basically, we need to have a list of styles, like we have a Google style, and then we have some other styles. We can define a list of them in our Google Sheet, and we have a function get styles underscore to retrieve all of the styles, because we have a keyword and we have the style, and we can make that as an object, and we can use it later. All right, so this is the first step. And the second step, after we have these styles we defined, and you need to select a range you want to update. You want to apply the styles to this range, right? And we have this function we are going to be created called apply styles, and this is going to be our main function here, right? And in this function, we're going to go through each cell in the range. Okay, so for each cell in the range, we are going to update the rich text value for that cell. Okay, so this function update rich text value underscore, we take a value. This value is going to be a rich text value, and the style is going to be returned from this get styles underscore function. So this function is going to update the rich text value for a single cell in the range you selected. And we also need to define some helper function, like find the indexes for the images by keyword. So basically, let's say in the cell you may have, let's say your keyword is Google, and in your sentence or in the cell text, let's say you may have Google at the first place. Maybe you may have multiple Google in this sentence, in this cell, right? So we're going to have a helper function to find all of these indexes. So basically where this Google is placed. So for this one example here, the first Google is at the beginning, so the index for the first Google is 0, and we need to basically have a function to find all of them in this sentence or in this text value. Okay, so this is just a helper function, and after we have these indexes, and we can replace these find indexes and with this rich text style we define here. Okay, so this is about this project, and you can follow this. So basically I'm going to do it, since this is a live coding I prepared, so I want to follow this step so I can basically have a clear process in my head, just in case I forget something in this project. So I think we can get started, and let's move to this first one. Okay, to define the styles in this in a tab or in a sheet in our Google spreadsheet file. So let's do it. So our first step in this script design here is to define the styles in a sheet, and then we're going to create a function get styles to collect all these styles. So let's do it. Let me go back to the so I already created this file. It's basically a blank file here. So let me get rid of this line, and I'd like to have this only have one single column for all the styles. Okay, so you can define your styles in the column A, and I'd like to rename this to styles, and this name, this just the header. Okay, we basically start the styles from the row 2. Okay, so this is going to be our database, not the database, going to be our source for the styles. So I make a copy of them so to save some time. So basically this is going to be your input. So you can define multiple styles here, different styles. But the key has to be, the value has to be unique. Okay, so let's say this is Facebook, and this is YouTube, something like that. So make this black, make this red. Have no idea. Maybe make this green. So let's say we have the data here, and now let's create the function get styles to get all of these styles. So let's open this app script editor. So after we did this, we should apply the styles to anywhere in this file, okay? So that's our final goal here. So let's call it live coding, I think 8.15. All right. So the first function, get styles, I put underscore here. And I'd like to make a test function here because for the underscore function here, you cannot see it here, right? So if we want to run some test, we call it from this test function, just in case we want to run we want to debug our code, okay? So I'd like to define settings object here to keep all our settings, like the sheet name. I'd like to have the styles, right? We defined styles tab here, so we put it here. And to get the styles, we need to have the reference to this style sheet, right? So let's say const ss for the spreadsheet get active, and const sheet is ss get sheet by name. The name is going to be in the settings sheet name, and we put the style there for this function. So after we get this, and we need to return an object of all the styles. So let's say const styles is going to be an object. Okay, so we're going to return this as an object, and we return it here for the styles. And we need to get the rich text values from this tab or from this sheet. So let's say const values equal to, I'd like to remove the header, so this is going to be the header, and we just extend the rest of them into the items. Let's say get rid of it. Maybe this is going to be the values, and we use sheet get data range and get rich text values. Okay, so this function is going to get the rich text values. They're totally different from the normal values you get from this data range. Okay, since we don't need to use this header, so we can just remove it, and you need to keep this empty here. Okay, so we have these values, and we can go through these values. So values for each row, you can say row values is a two-dimensional array. Okay, so this value is a two-dimensional array, and in this array we have another array which is going to be the row values array. So let's say I'd like to return, so const, I'd like to get the key. So the key is going to be this text, right? Like the Google, Facebook, YouTube is going to be the key. So let's say key is equal to row values. Since we are at the first column, I say we are at column A, so it's going to be the row value, the first element, so it's 0, and we can get the text. So the text is going to be the value. All right, and let's say const, we're going to have another, because we want to get all of these styles, right? So we need to put it into so it's called runs, row values 0. You can you can see here runs, and in this runs you can have the start index and end index. All right, all of this stuff. So we have this key, or I'd like to rename it. So let's say this is the key, and I'd like to use this as a key, and this runs at the value for this styles object. So the styles, let's say styles key is equal to runs. Okay, so now we have this styles and return. So let's say const styles equal to get styles, and we can console log this stuff out, so we can check if this is working or not. So let's try to run this function. For this runs, okay, let me explain this a little bit. So for this one, this G, because this is a different color, so it's going to be the first run, and this 2 double O is going to be the second run. Okay, since they are in the same format. Okay, red and bold. So basically, the style should be the same, and this G is a different color. So for this Google, I should have 4 runs. All right, and for this Facebook, I have 2. And for this YouTube, I should have 2. So let me verify if this is correct. And I need to do this authorization first. Let's do it again. So if you are not familiar with this kind of concept, you can check the documentation from Google, okay, and you also can try it, and you can basically try to guess, and you can verify it with the code. So if you check the code here, not the code, the log here, as I just said, for the because we put these runs here in this key. So basically for Google is the key, right? And it's going to be an array of run object, and in this run you're going to have some property, not a property, or functions to get this stuff. You can get the text, and you can get the start index, or the start index, and the end index. If you have the start index and end index, what you can do, you can get the length of this run. All right, and so 1, 2, 3, 4. I should have 4, but here it seems like yes, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So this for Facebook, as I just said, we have 2 runs here, right? And this for YouTube, we have two run. So I'd like to get the length of this run. So because we don't have a function here to get the length, but we have the start index and the end index, so we can utilize these 2 functions to apply something. All right. So for this runs, get runs, so we can do something like this. So let's say runs, maybe I can do it here, map run. So let's say const length equal to run get last index, get end index, not last index, minus run dot get start index. So if the start index is 0 and the end index is 1, that means the length is 1, right? And if this is 1 and this is 2, it's still 1. So the calculation should be right, and then we can just assign the run length to length. So putting this length in quote. So we assign a new property to this run, and let's check it out and make sure this time we can get the length undefined map. Okay, I need to return. Okay, I need to return this run. Styles. So let's try to do it again. Okay, so now you can see we have a length properties in this object. So this is one for the first G letter, right? And the second element in this array is this double O, right? So these two character, and the next one is 1, and the last one is 2. And for Facebook is 4, 4, and for YouTube is 3, 4. That's because the first 3 of YouTube U is in the same format, and the tube is in red color, so they're also in the same format. So I hope this can help you to understand this runs property in this rich text values. Okay, so they're very important because we are trying to apply the same runs in our target file or target cells, right? So that's about how to get the styles, and we can move to the next step. Okay, so after we got this styles successfully, and our next step is going to apply the styles to the selected cells, right? So before I create this apply styles function, I'd like to complete the helper function first, okay? So I like to do this find all indexes helper function first. So let's go back to our file here, and let me define this helper function here. Let's say we have a function to get all indexes or find all indexes underscore, and which takes the text and the key or keyword. So both of them are string, right? So add parameter. This is going to be a string for the text, and parameter which is going to be a string for the keyword. And for the returns, I'm going to return a number of array, right? This is going to be our return. And to do this, I think we have a lot of method here to do that. So let me show you one way to find all the matches in a string. So let's say, first of all, I'd like to define a regular expression. So new regular expression, and we use the keyword as the pattern. And for the flags, I'd like to put G here. So if you want to make a case insensitive, you can put I here, right? So for me, I'd like to keep it case sensitive, so I remove this I. So let's do a comment here. If add I flag for case insensitive. So this is the keyword, and what we can do here, we can do something we can return. We can just return something like, so test for string we can match. I'm not sure if this is working in this match all function is working in AppScript. So let's just try it. So let's put the regular expression here, and I'm going to extend this so we can put it in array. And so let me check if this is working. So in this test function, comment this out. let's try to const index is equal to find all indexes. So the text going to be Google is Google. For the keyword, let's say this is Google, and let's try to console.log indexes. Try to run this test function. All right, since this function we have this working. So about the value here, as you can see, the result we get, I think we only need to have this index, and we don't need to have all of other stuff. All right, we don't need these values. The only thing we care about here is this index. So what we can do here, we can do a map, and we map for the item in this match. So we get the item.index. So let's try to run this test function again. Run again. So now we get this index. The first Google is going to be at the position 0, and the next one is at the position 10. All right. So this is a function to get the indexes for all the images in a string, right? So you can verify it by add more Googles here. And the test. And what if there is no Google in the string? So let's also try it. Let's put the apple here and save. Let's try. I think we should return an empty array. All right, so that's all we need for the helper function here to find all the indexes. And then we can move to another function, another helper function to update the rich text value for a single cell. Okay, so we can now create another helper function to update rich text value for a single cell, right? So the first parameter here I'd like to put is value. So this value is going to be a rich text value, and we also need to pass the styles. So the styles is going to be retrieved from this getStyles function. All right, so this is all we need. And let's just add some comments here. For the first parameter, I think should be spread up dot rich text value, and this is going to be the value, and the parameter for the styles is going to be object. For the styles, so what we need to do here, let's say here we have a Google is Google, right? And we have a list of styles. So basically we need to go through, so for each cell value here, we need to go through this value, and we'd like to check all of these styles. So if Google is found in this string, I'd like to replace it. And if Facebook found in this string, I also want to replace it. So I'm going to do a loop here to apply them to all of this, to this one single cell, right? So we have this value here. What we can do here, so let's say object dot keys, or you can do entries, and it's going to be these styles, it's going to be our object, and for each we say we have the key, and we have this style which is going to be the runs. Remember what we do here. So you can name this whatever you like. So the first one is going to be key, the second is going to be the value, okay? And so I rename it like this because, or I say keyword. It makes much more sense, okay? Because for the styles, remember, we put, this is a key, actually this is the keyword, and we put the runs as the value, okay, for this styles object. So we destructure this as keyword and it runs. And let's do this callback function here. So this is going to be the loop for each style, okay? And for each keyword, you can get the indexes with this find helper function. We take a text. So the text we can get here is going to be the value.getText. Right. So we pass the text here, and we have the keyword. So this is the keyword. So if this keyword, if this is for the first style in this example here is Google, right? So if this is Google, the keyword is Google, and we're going to find all the Google indexes, just like we tested here. And if it's Facebook, we do this for Facebook. So this is about the indexes, and we're going to go through these indexes, right? We go through these indexes, basically 0, 10, right? So this is the position. So indexes for each, we're going to have, what can we do here? Index. So this index is going to be the position, right, in this string. Let's say 0 is the first index for the Google. So we can set, and I need to make a copy of this text value. So let's say const copy value, go to value dot, let's see, yes, I can copy. Not sure if I have to copy it, but let's do it like this way. So let's copy dot, so we can, yes, I have to copy it because we need to set the text styles. If you do not copy it, you cannot set the text. You can only get the properties from the value. So you need to make a copy of it so you can reset the styles, okay? You don't need to set the text, but you have to set the text styles. So here, you should have a start, and you can have a start index and end index, which are not defined here, and you need to apply the text styles. So these text styles should form the runs, okay? Get text styles. So let me show you here for the runs. So if you say runs get text style, so this get text style is going to return the styles for the first run, not the first one, any runs, okay? Like this G and this double O and this G is going to apply this style, this real style, okay? So basically we not apply this Google by one time, we apply this Google by 4 times, okay? In this example, because we have 4 runs, so we apply this blue part first, and then this red part, and this black part with single G, and the last part is going to be L and E, right? So this is why we want to save the styles here. So get style. Where is my runs? So this is going to be the runs, and this is going to get the styles, and also this is the index, and the start index is going to be, we have the const start index is going to be the index, because this index is the index we find with the keyword, right? And we have the end index. End index should be start index plus I'm sorry, I think I did this wrong. Okay, so this index here is going to be the whole index for the Google. Okay, but we need to loop through these runs, so we basically need to do another loop. So this is kind of confusing, I think. So here we need to do runs for each run. Okay, for each run. I'm sorry, so this is kind of confusing, I have to say. I need to get rid of this line. So here, we need to replace this, and this is going to be this const start index equal to index, and const end index is going to be index plus run.length. Let me think about it. I think I did something wrong here because I have to say it's not easy to do. So let's say this is the first index here is going to be 0, okay? So for each run here, I think I need to define the start index here. And the end index should be start index plus the run or length, since we have different lengths for this run. Or remember, and after each loop, I'd like to increase this by the run or length. So basically, this start index should be reset every time if we have these. So let's say if Google start from 0, right? So in this example, the first index is 0 and the next one is 10. So if it's 0, first loop is 0, and we set the start index to 0, right? And after we loop through all of these runs, and the next index should be 10, and then we reset the index, the start index to 10. Okay, that's the second of Google here. All right, and in this loop, we increase start index by the run length. Okay, so yeah, this is kind of confusing because we have three basically nested 3 layers. So I think we should separate them a little bit, but this is the tricky part. So I'm not sure if this is working or not. So let's just try some test, and we need to return this copy value, right? After we did all of these changes to this value, and we need to return this copy value. So this update text value is going to be like this. So let's can try some test here. Let's say here I'd like to test it. So let's get the text, get the styles, and let's say update. Let's say const new value, or let's say value is equal to. I'd like to use this active cell. Okay, so let's say spreadsheet.getActive, and I'm going to get active cell, get rich text value, and const new value is going to be update rich text value, and we pass the value here, and we pass the styles here. Let's save this to active cell. Okay, so let's const active cell equal to this one. So let's reset this active cell set rich text value to this new value. Okay, so basically here we get this active cell, and we get the current value, rich text value of this cell, right? And we update the rich text with these styles, and we get a new value, and then we reset this active cell to this new value, and this should apply the format. So let's try it. Okay, get text is not a function. Line 50, get text. Okay, so I cannot use get values. I should use get a value here. Try it again. Get text style is not a function. Really? Line 58. All right, I have two. So this is a parameter spread. Okay, I need to build this copy value. I think this is the last error. All right, so finally it's working. So if I try to add a Facebook here or YouTube, and let's try to test. So as you can see, it's working now, right, for this single cell. And we can apply this logic or this method to the select range very easily. So let's do the last part. Now we have almost everything ready, right? And our final function here is going to be our main function here, right? So let's do this apply styles. So I don't put an underscore here because I want to try this function here because this is our main function. And what we can do here, I'd like to apply this update rich text value function to every single cell you selected here, right? Maybe you can even select a range like this, so you can have multiple cells here. So let's say const spreadsheet equal to spreadsheet app.get active, and let's give a little bit of space here. Const let's say active or selected range equal to get selected range, get active range, I don't know, get active range, okay. Or I'd like to say this is active range, and const value is equal to active range dot get value. Get, I need to get the rich text values from this active range, okay. All right, so this is going to be our rich text values, and then we need to do something here. Let's say const new values is going to be values map, so row values, and return row map, row values, another map, and the value. And here what we can do here is update rich text value with the value and styles. So these styles we have to do it here. Let's say const styles equal to get styles. So this is styles we're going to use it here, and this should return a new updated rich text value array. All right, so this is going to be our new values. And finally, let's set rich text value with these new values, and this is going to update all of them. All right, so this is our main function, and let's apply. Let's do edit the menu. So on open spreadsheet.get UI, and I'm going to create the menu. And the name is going to be settings.app name, and add item format or apply styles is the function to be called, and add to UI. So this is going to be the function, not the function, the label in this button or in the menu. Okay. So let's define the app name here. App name. You can say format, or you can say rich text format or formatter, whatever you like. It's going to be the menu name. Okay. And I think I can get rid of all of them. So let's try to run this on open function, and let me get rid of this text. I keep it here for you just for reference. Okay, so we can use it here now in this menu, so we can run some tests. Let's delete this one. Let's say Google is Google, Facebook is YouTube. So let's make a copy for some lines to test the. So I select all of them and I can format. Illegal argument. What the hell? Run line 59. Copy value, set style, set text style, start index, end index, illegal argument. Let's just console.log. That's weird. Start index, end index, and run. Let's try to do it again. Okay. Here is the problem. Start 0. And why do we have something like this? That's pretty weird. Let's try to run this on one single item here. So I think I need to check if the length of this run, if the length of the run is 0, that means it doesn't make any sense, I have to say. So what we can do here, get styles here, runs map. So we can filter run door length is bigger than 0. Okay, that's pretty weird, I have to say. So I hope this time this should work. Filter, run. All right, anything? So I think right now this can fix this issue. It's pretty weird, but I have to say I didn't know this issue. And seems like it's working. So if I select all of them and then try to run it again, so all of them should be formatted as you like. This one is not working. Okay, it's still working. So let me get rid of all of them, and I can make another one to test it again. So upwork. So let's say I'd like to apply green color, make it 40. So we say upwork is for free dancing. So try it. All right, so I hope this is, so let's change this to red and test again. Okay, so yeah, that's it. I think that's almost it for today's project. And since this is a live coding, so some bugs and issues I didn't notice, and I hope you can follow this video, because this is a very good practice if you want to do this scripting or automation, a script language like this, especially JavaScript. So you can do this practice and you can learn a lot. I have to say, I think this should be the easiest way to do this kind of small project, and you can practice and you can improve your skills very quickly. All right, so let's see you in the next one, and I'm going to keep doing a project like this, and especially for the small one, because if the project is too large and if you don't have enough knowledge, and then maybe it's going to be very difficult for you to start with. So do this kind of project, small project, especially like this way. All right, and I hope you can. I hope this can help you. Okay, if you want to make a beautiful. Yes, this is all. I think it's only about the format. For most of use case, I don't think this is a matter, right? So I'll see you next time. Bye bye.
But all will be okay. I move on each and every day. The past is where it stays.